So in their earliest stages, when they might have been able to do something, I think I was a voice kind of telling them to back off as parents. And so those are regrets that I have.
Clint spoke openly about how, he went through a tough time back in the day with drugs and alcohol.
Well, boy, that was a difficult, heartbreaking time and thing to witness, and it was terrifying, and I wasn't sure Clint was going to make it out, and
Really?
I don't think Mom and Dad were sure he was going to make it out.
When the point for you that you were most concerned was what?
There was a point where he was delusional and having kind of episodes that were drug related, but brushes with the law and flirting with kind of homelessness and it was unsustainable. And he'd been through rehab a couple of times unsuccessfully, and looked like it was just getting worse. But at a certain point, Clint found the will himself to live, and Dad really helped him turn that corner. Once Clint decided, I think Dad did his very best parenting when Clint was 30 years old and in a lot of trouble, and he found ways to sort of give him just enough money to live on and just enough space to feel autonomous, but with a lot of supervision.
Because he'd taken away the key to the house.
Yeah, Clint couldn't come to their house. It was tough love. It was tough love.
Why did you say you, in part, blame yourself?
I had been really strictly controlled as a kid. My parents must have been worried about kidnapping and other things. They were really helicopter parents with me, and I chafed under that, resented it. Clint came along, was such an extrovert, and so popular, so smart, funny, great actor, but also really good athlete. And just, socially, I could see that he had a lot of the qualities that I sort of wish I had. And a lot of the friendships and social interaction and things that I kind of yearned for, but didn't even know how to have. And so I pushed Mom and Dad to give him more freedom and more flexibility. And even when Clint was starting to smoke pot and things like that, I wasn't using any drugs, but I had really good friends who were highly functional and socially responsible about it, and I said, this is not a nightmare. These are changing times. Relax. So, in their earliest stages, when they might have been able to do something, I think I was a voice kind of telling them to back off as parents. And so those are regrets that I have.
Ron said he in part blames himself for what you went through.
Well, that's a nice thought, but I kind of call bullshit on that. I mean, listen, I don't know. What's a big brother gonna do? What's a guy? I mean, I love Ron, and I kind of knew what he was thinking. Ron and I went to a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 14.
I guess it was. There was the Steelers and the Rams at the Rose Bowl. And he gave me the speech about, because he had been around a lot of young actors that, getting loaded or high or whatever, And he goes, it's one thing when you use drugs, but it's another thing when drugs start using you. And the one problem with Ron is his talks were a little cliche.
Yeah.
But if he would have played it different, I may have fully rejected it. I mean, Ron and I were always really close.
One of the last really challenging acting roles that I took on was a movie called Act of Love. It was based on a true story. A younger brother had euthanized his older brother as requested after a horrible accident where the brother was going to be, you know, paralyzed forever, and younger brother shot him. And there was a trial. And there was a moment on, you know, on the witness stand where I'm supposed to talk about how much I love my brother, and of course, in my mind, reliving this horrible incident. And I just sort of stayed in the zone because what I was thinking about was, you know, how much pain I was feeling about my brother. And the question in my mind was whether Clint would survive and what it would be like to lose him. And how much I loved him, and I was just able to personalize it, and in that take, it was really emotional, and those were real, you know, real tears.